Okay, so in the last phase, we just completed with question number 4, part A. Now we need to continue. Question number 4, part A was having a global array data, and in that we need to find out that whether the searches are greater than the maximum number or not. And now we need to have a look for part B. What does the part B says? Okay, now the part B says over here, the global array is changed to a two-dimensional array. Instead of a 1D array, it has been changed to a 2D array, organized as 150 rows by 2 columns. It is declared in pseudocode as follows. So the rows are 150, 1 till 150, 150 rows, and 2 columns are over here. The algorithm for the function in part A is changed. A string will only be counted if both of the following conditions are true. Okay, now when it is going to be counted? The first condition is that the row is an even number. So how are we going to find out the even number? It was quite simple. It was the basic program that we need to have it mod by 2, mod by 2 of the row number. And if it's 0, that means it's an even number. The search string exactly matches the value in either of the column. That means either in 1 or either in 2. So write a pseudocode to check these conditions. Assume that the row index is contained in variables row and the search string is variable search. So they have also given us with the variable. So how we can do it? We can just apply the if condition over here because it's just of 3 marks. So directly you can apply with the if condition. If, what will be the if condition? If row, as I told you, mod 2, that means whatever the row number is over there, mod 2 equals to 0. That means it's true. And what could be the other uh, search? Now the other search is having the two searches inside it, or you may say the two conditions inside it. This is the condition number 1. What is the condition number 2? It said the search string exactly matches in either of the column. So how are we going to do that one? Data row for one column, one is for the column, equals to search. Search was the variable as it told us, or you may say capital or data row comma 2 equals to search. So now this is the condition. If row mod 2 is 0, condition number 1, and inside the second condition, this from here till here is the second condition, and in this second condition there are two conditions. So if either of the condition is fulfilled, that means both of the conditions are fulfilled over here. That means you are good to go with that. So this is how you need to do this part. Coming to question number 5. What does the question number 5 says? It says an algorithm is designed to find the smallest numeric values from an input sequence and count how many numeric values have been input. Okay, whatever the inputs are there, you need to find out the smallest smallest numeric value. Okay, because as you can see over here with the example, they are going to input with the alphabets as well as with the numbers. So we need to find out the smallest element. So if you can see over here, so the smallest element in this example is 4 over here. Okay, now they are saying numeric input values are all integers and non-numeric inputs is ignored. Okay, now they are saying input values should be integers and non-numeric which should be ignored, except for the string and. And will be there, which is used to terminate the sequence. So we will be terminating the sequence over here. That means to end of the program, we will be utilizing the and. Apart from the and, there will be no string that could be that could be entered over here. The algorithm is expressed in the pseudocode as shown. So we have the declare next input string, declare min count num integer. Min is given with the value 999, count is given with the value 0. Now then they are saying just after that repeat input next input. Okay. If is num next input equals to true, that means whatever the next num is there, if it's number is true, then what is going to happen? Num will be provided with string to num next input. If num is greater than min, then min will be provided with the value of num. And if count will be incremented, okay. there is an issue. We will see why it's an issue. And if just after that, until next input is given with the value and output, the minimum value is min and the output and the count was count. The pseudocode contains three errors due to the incorrect use of the operators. Okay, now this was the issue what I was saying. So you need to identify each error and state the correction required. So this type of the questions we were doing when we were doing with the uh, uh, O levels participles as well. Sorry. Okay, now just have a look over here again because now we know that what is the main purpose. So they are saying over here, repeat input next num. If num if is num next input equals to true, okay, that's fine. Num will be assigned with a value the string to the num, that's fine as well. But over here they are saying if num is greater than min, no. If num is less than min, so this is the basic one. So identify each error. So the first error is num is greater than min, and they said correction is required. So what should be the correction? Sorry, the correction should be num less than min. Okay. Now the other thing they are saying count, and they have utilized the concatenate symbol over here. So this is an issue. So we couldn't have that one. We'll be saying it will be count given with the value count plus 1. Over here, what will be the third part? So they are saying until next input and. So we are not assigning over here. We need to just check it out that it is it equal or not. So this is the next or the last mistake. Next input assigning with the value and we should say next input or it should say next input equals to and. So this is how we need to do this part. Coming to part B, what does the part B says? The operator's errors are corrected and the algorithm is tested as follows. The input sequence is 18, 4, 127, 189, array 365, and so one will should be obsoleted from this one, array should be obsoleted, and will not be obsoleted because and was the until part. That means the loop is ending with end. Produces the output, the minimum value is 3 and the count was 6. The algorithm is tested with a difference with a different test data sequence. The sequence contains a mix of integer and non-numeric values. It is terminated correctly, but the algorithm produces an unexpected results. Explain the problem with the algorithm. Okay, now they're saying there were different things, different set of the data that were containing integer than the non-numeric values as well. Okay, now it is terminated correctly, but the algorithm is not producing the results perfectly. It is performing the results with an issue. So what could be those issues or explain the problem with the algorithm? So it's for 2 marks. Having a look at the algorithm once again, we do have a question over here. Okay, it's an the data is not necessarily integer form. Okay, we can see that, Usman. Good. Okay, now this was an algorithm over here. So we can say that if the values are greater than 999, so that could be an issue. Okay. So, and the other word could be the minimum value is given with the 99. And you may say if the values are greater than 99, then non-numeric data, sorry, numeric data will also be considered as a issue over here. So we can just write it down. If greater are, sorry, greater than, I'm sorry, greater than 999, then minimum value on the minimum variable will be given as 99. Oh, triple nine, 999. I'm sorry. Okay, now they are saying give a sequence of the four test data values that could be input to demonstrate the problem. Okay, now what could be that values? So value number one, you can say, let's say that I've written my name and I have written my name with, no, we cannot have that because it's triple nine. So that will be considered if you are placing up 1,000. So it will be considering as triple nine as the minimum. Okay, so one comma and you can say, sorry, we cannot take one over here. We need to demonstrate the problem. So we can write 4,000 over here and then it's an end. What could be the other one? It could be 1542. It could be Usman, for example, and then it could be Burhan and then end. Okay. Now, do remember that end should be entered because they are saying the result is not proper, but it is terminating properly. So end should be there. And the other one could be, you may say, for example, ABC 2569, comma, and again, it will be having the same issue. And EFG, you can say 7009, and then it's an end as well. So this could be the issues. Well, all these are having the values greater than 3 times 9. Okay, now coming to question number 6. What is the question number 6 says? It says the pseudocode output command starts each output on a new line. So there is a pseudocode output that is starting the output on a new line. Part number A, what is the part number A says? A new procedure, my output will take a string and a Boolean parameter. So there are two parameters over here. My output may be called repeatedly and will use concatenation to build a string using a global variable, my string, up to the maximum length of the 255 characters. Okay, not more than 255 characters could be there. My string will be, and my string is a global variable, so it could be utilized in the main program as well as in the procedure as well. My string will be output in either of these two cases. Okay, when it is going to be output. The Boolean parameter value is true. Concatenation means that we are going to merge two of the strings together. We will utilize in this. Okay, the Boolean parameter value is true. Second part, the resulting string after concatenation would be longer than 255 characters. If my string is not output, if my string is not output, the string is concatenated with my string. Okay, now what does it say? For example, the calls to my output given below would result in the output as shown. My output hello false, my output ginger false, my output cat true, my output how are you, and then it's a true. So they are giving us an example and what will be the results of these outputs. So if you are saying hello false, so that will be actually doing hello ginger cat and how are you. So this is how they are going to do because these are the false. For the true, they will be utilizing the next line. Now they are saying notes. My string is initialized to an empty string before my output is called for the first time. Until unless you are not going to call my output, until then my string is empty. It's not having any of the value. No string passed to my output will be longer than 255 characters. So my output, the procedure my output will not be having any sort of that string that is having more than 255 characters in it. Okay, now what they're saying, you need to write the pseudocode for my output. So how are we going to write the pseudocode for the my output? So they are saying my output will be a procedure because we are just calling that and they haven't said that it will be returning any of the thing. So that's a procedure over here. Although they just said to us that my uh, okay, My output will be having two of the things as the string. What are those two things? Yeah. So my output will take a string and a boolean as a parameter. So they just told us that my output will be having the string and a boolean as a parameter over here. So how are we going to do that one? So first of all, we are going to start with the procedure. So the keyword procedure will be utilized. Okay, just after the keyword procedure, the name of the procedure is my output. Okay, now they are saying a string and a boolean. So a string, for the string, we will be taking the variable, for an example, new string. Data type over here is a string. Just after the string, we can have the next parameter that is for the boolean. So we can say that EOL, that means end of the line, and that will be boolean. Okay, so the procedure, no need to return anything. Now what we need to check? We need to check it out. My string is initialized as empty. The no string passed to my output will be longer than 255 characters. So we need to check it out whether it's greater than 255 or not. We need to make a validation over here. So how are we going to validate this part? Keep in mind, we need to have the indentation part as well. If, now what will be the if? If length, keyword will be utilizing length, length, length of what? Length of my string that was given to us in the question. Length of my string plus length. I can use the length line. Length my string. I'm sorry. My string plus length new string. So if I'm adding up both of them is greater than 255. So what you actually need to output, you are going to output my string because it said that if it's greater than 255, so my string will be output. They just said over here. Uh, yeah. Built a string using a global variable my string up to maximum length of the 255 parameters. Sorry, 255 characters. My string will be output in either of these two cases. The Boolean parameter value is true. The result string after concatenation would be longer than 255 characters. So right now they just said that if it's greater than 255, so you are going to output. What are you going to output? You are going to output my string. So I'm saying output my string. Else, if that's not true, that means if it's not greater than 255, then what are we going to do? Okay, sorry, I just made a mistake before having an else. What are we going to do? If it's so, so my string will be having a value. If that is so, so my string will be assigned with the value of new string. Okay, else. If that's not the condition, that means not greater than 255. So what are we going to do? So now in else, my string will be assigned with a value of my string. Now we need to concatenate. So for the concatenation, we do have this symbol. Concatenate with new string. Concatenate with new string. If that's so, now we will be making one more if condition. Now what is that if condition? It says if end of line equals to true, then what is happening? It says over here. My string is initialized to the empty string before my output. Okay, now this, yeah. The resulting string after concatenation would be longer than 255. The Boolean parameter value is true. So if the Boolean parameter is true, now what is going to happen? So if EOL is true, then you are going to output my string once again. And my string will be assigned with the value blank space because it was not called earlier. Then we do have an end if over here. And finally, we do have one more and if that should be concatenated over here. And because we have utilized the procedure over here, so we do have an AND procedure as well. So this is how we need to do this part. Okay, now coming towards 6b. What does the 6b says? Sorry. The design of the procedure given in part A is modified and my string is changed from a global to a local variable declared in my output. The design of the procedure is given in part A is modified and my string is changed from the global to the local variable. And it is declared in my output. That means now my string is declared within the procedure. When the modified procedure is converted into the program code, it does not work as expected. Now there is an error. What is that error? Explain why it does not work as expected. So what will be the issue over here? Okay. Now what is an issue? If you are going to put my string into my output, that means into the parameter. So each time you are going to call the parameter, or you may say you are going, sorry, you are going to call the procedure. That means you are going to execute the procedure. So each time a new value of my string will be created. So you may say each time a procedure is called, so what is going to happen? A new value of my string, because now it is inside the procedure, is created, making a loss of previous content, sorry, or previous data, you may say. Okay, we do have a question, I think so, over here. Procedure many times, so we need to, yeah, exactly. If we need to call it multiple times, so we should be having a global variable if you do not need to change the value. That's also the thing. Coming to question number 7, what does the question number 7 says? Now it's a FSM diagram, state transition diagram. Sorry, FSM machine, finite state machine, and it's a state transition diagram. So they are saying the table shows the inputs, outputs, and the states of the algorithm. So the current states are S1, S2, then again S2, then we do have 3 times S5, then S1, and finally S3. So inputs are there A1, A3, A2, A1, A4, A3, A9, and again A9. Output are X1, then it's a none, then it's X4, then X1, X2, none, X9, and again X9. Next states are given over there S2 with S1, S5, S5, S2, 2 times S3, and then S4. Now they're saying complete the state transition diagram to represent the information given in the table. So we are starting with the start, and at the start it's S1. At S1, we do have an input of A1 and we do have an output of X1. And it is going to the next state. So the next state says for S2. Now we need to complete this one. Okay, from S2, the input was A3. Okay, we are having an input A3. We are not having any of the output. It's a none. And it is going to S1. Fair enough. Now from S2, we are having one more thing. What is that particular thing? S2 is going towards, what is the next state? It's S5. I'm talking over here. It's X5 over here. So we need to make up a circle. Yeah, that's fine. So it's S5 over here. Once we are moving over here, so what are the input and the output values over here? It was A2 and it was, sorry, it will be a straight line. A2 and it was X4. Okay, after S5, it's going to S5 one again, once again. So if it's once again, that means it's repeating the loop. My semicircle is not too perfect. So we will be saying what are the input and the output values over here in this one? A1 and it's a X1. Okay. Now from here, it's going back to S2. Okay. Once it is going to X2, what are the values? It's A4 and X2. So we will be writing A4, X2. We are over here. Now from here, they are saying S5 to S3. So we need to make one more circle over here. Okay. So from S5, it is going to S3. Now, what were the values at S3? It was A3 just an input and there was no output statement. So A3 and no output statement, none. Now from S1, it's to S3. So we will be taking a value from here. Now, what are the input and the output values? So it's A9 and X9 over here. A9 and X9. Finally, we are having S3 going towards S4. So we do not have S4. We need to create one more circle. We can say it's S4. And the input values are A9 and output value is X9. A9 and X9. So this is how we are going to complete this state transition diagram and it gives you 5 marks for this one. So that's an easy one. Okay. So this will be all for this phase of this uh, paper. Inshallah, in the next video, we'll be continuing with the last phase of this paper. Thank you so much, guys.